Hello and welcome to the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. This is episode 18 and today is the summer solstice, the 21st of June. My name is Ali. I'm coming to you from Kent, where I live with my husband and my two young daughters. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Starry Eyes Ali, and there's also a podcast group on Ravelry, imaginatively called Little Drops of Wonderful, so please do feel free to go and join there. It's mainly where it's a useful space if there's giveaways going on. There aren't any currently because the last one just closed at the end of May and we're going to be announcing the winners of that imminently. So it's another really warm day, so I've got the windows, the doors open in my kitchen, so apologies if you hear planes, neighbours, animals, bird song, that kind of thing. Just trying to stay cool. I've still got a cough. I've now been to the doctor's 3 times and it's nothing that can really be identified as anything serious. It's not allergies. I think I've just been really unfortunate in getting a few coughs and colds and sore throats one after the other. So I'm just trying to eat healthily, keep my immunity well working. If that's actually a sentence that's grammatically correct, probably not. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody, and welcome all the new subscribers that have been popping up lately. I think we're up to almost 750-ish now, which is incredible. So thank you very much for supporting this podcast by pressing subscribe. It means a great deal to me, and thank you very much for joining me. Apologies for the slightly extended gap between this episode and the last. It was just due to the fact that I decided to start doing a daily vlog, really. That, and I wanted to make sure I had a little prize package ready before I announced the winners. So if you haven't watched it, I've been doing a daily vlog every day throughout the month of June. There's lots of yarny, knitty, crochet stuff in there, as well as snippets of the stuff I get up to generally. So do go and watch those if that's your kind of thing. They're all very short little videos, under 10 minutes, I think, possibly. Right. I think that's enough of the rambling. I'll just take a mouthful. I've just opened a can of very, very cold Diet Coke. I've already had 2 cups of tea today and I feel really hot. So without further ado, let's get on to the giveaway. Now, I have been running a Celebrate Everything giveaway. It was to celebrate reaching 500 subscribers here on YouTube, 1,000 subscribers on Instagram, and also the fact that I turned 40. I got to level 40 of life. So I put together a little parcel, which I will show you now. One piece of which I will show you slightly later in the podcast, and there'll be other bits kind of thrown in that I won't show you now. So if you remember in the last episode, I mentioned that I had been sewing some project bags. So I had this one, which I made, which is actually going to be a drawstring bag, but I haven't got the cord that I want yet to put in there. And it is lined with the same fabric as the drawstring casing, which is a linen fabric that I bought in a shop in Whitstable, which is a seaside town here in Kent. And this is the other one that was in progress at the time, but I've completed. In fact, this is fresh off of... Hang on a minute, I forgot to put stuff in there. As I was saying, this is fresh off of the sewing machine this morning. So fresh, in fact, that I still haven't sewn up the lining. So it's the same feature fabric. I've got a little tag thing there with some nice ribbon that I found. And then it's got this sort of sturdy cotton duck type fabric at the bottom. And it is lined with my favourite organic cotton fabric, which I've got a little cotton flower print that says organic cotton. And again, I've just got to put a drawstring in there. So I think out of the 2, this is the one I'm going to keep, and this is the one that's going into the giveaway prize. It's a really good size for, well, you could probably fit a couple of pairs of socks or a shawl in there. Really sort of portable knitting. It's got portable knitting. I am not a seamstress, So what you're getting here is not something that is good for selling or anything like that. There will be flaws. Just think of it as a lovely handmade gift from a friend. So don't judge it on if you paid 20 quid for it or something. Right, and inside I've put some tea. This is some very summery sounding green tea with jasmine. And I've put these gorgeous, right, now these are in cellophane, so hopefully we won't get too much glare. Little tags from Knitting I Love. These are little tags, that's her little thing that's inside it. Okay, I've got my camera turned round on the better camera side, and I've got a mirror behind it, so it's all a bit of a faff to get it to focus, so apologies for that. These are little tags from Knitting I Love. They're made of a very thick kind of sturdy felt, and they're printed. One's got a sheep, one's got a cupcake, one's got 3 hearts, and one's got a flower. And the idea is you can sew them onto your finished projects. You can sew them onto a shawl. She sews them onto the rim of hats. So I bought some for myself. I got 2 sets. I think I got the hearts and the flowers, and she sent some extra to put into a giveaway, so I'm putting that in as well. So we've got a project bag and some tea and the lovely Knitting I Love project tags, and there are going to be some other bits thrown in there as well, and there'll be some hand-dyed yarn, which I shall talk about slightly later, and all the usual kind of snail maily bits I like to do. A nice handwritten letter and bits and bobs that will go in there. So in the Ravelry thread we had 41 replies, so that means there was 42 posts in all, including my own. So I am going to do a random number generator, oops, on my iPad, and I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to put in minimum, ooh, one moment please, please hold.
Minimum 2, maximum 42, oops, not 142, but 42. See if I can get that nice and big so I can show you.
There we go. And generate. Number 19. Oh, that's weird. In the Celebrate Everything giveaway for my birthday, because my birthday is the 19th. So let's go and see who is post number 19. By the magic of editing, I will now tell you who it is, what their name is, and what their reply was. Congratulations, post number 19. You are Coffee Knit Repeat. Your name is Sue, and your post was this. Congratulations, Ali. That's a great milestone. The last thing I celebrated at the end of last month was my US conditional residency was extended for another year. Yay! I'm looking forward to this time next year when the conditional status will have been removed and I will be eligible to apply for citizenship. Wow, that's a pretty good thing to celebrate. So congratulations, Sue. On top of that, you have also won this little prize package plus other things yet to be shown. So if you could get in touch with me via Ravelry. I know you're on Ravelry. I've seen you a few times on the group before, so that's brilliant. If you could get in touch with me either via Ravelry or via Instagram, just send me a message, get your address to me. Where are you? Let's have a look at where in the world you are. You are in North Carolina, so all this is going all the way to North Carolina. So get in touch with me with your address and we'll arrange to get that sent out to you. Congratulations. Thank you to everybody else who entered. Really, really appreciate you all joining in with the spirit of it, and it was brilliant to read all of your things that you have been celebrating. Now that I've closed the thread, I can go in and start writing some replies to that, because it's really difficult not to when you see them all popping up and you want to go, oh my god, that's amazing, but you can't because you'll ruin the flow of it. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody who got involved. Let's move on to finished object, shall we? I've got my first finished object right here. He can't wait to come and say hello to you. He is leader of the Labour Party here in the UK, Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah. Hello. For the many, not the few. And all of that kind of thing. So this is, what am I doing? Oh my goodness, I think the heat's getting to me. This is Jeremy Corbyn. This is not a political podcast. This is a gift for a friend of mine who is turning 50 this weekend. And she's having a 50th birthday party. And she's a big Jeremy Corbyn fan. So last Christmas she was talking about this Christmas tree topper she'd seen online somewhere. And it was a Jeremy Corbyn Christmas tree topper. So I went and found that pattern. It is by Katrina of Snorkers Imaginarium. You can't buy it on Ravelry, you have to go to her website to buy it. It's not very expensive and it's a really detailed pattern. He's crocheted and he's supported inside with a couple of toilet roll tubes, and there is like a wooden dowel that I had to go to B&Q to source, and therefore he's hollow in the middle and you can pop him on top of your Christmas tree. And she's going to love that because she's a big Jeremy Corbyn fan. And he's all finished, and I gave him a little, the pattern calls for his red Labour tie, but I added a little red Labour rosette as well. He's got patches on his sensible jacket. So that's my first finished object, Jeremy Corbyn. Actually, he's my only finished object. But, you know, if you're going to have one finished object, it might as well be Jeremy Corbyn. Works in progress though, don't just have one of those. Oh no. We have a bit of a works in progress glut at the moment, so I'm not going to show you everything. I'm not going to show you the travelling cable mitts by Pearl Soho, which are currently in timeout because I got so fed up with dropping stitches. This is not a pattern fault, it is a me fault. And I'm not going to talk about my long-term Crazy Memories blanket. There's not enough progress been made on that since last time. I did talk about it in one of my June vlogs, which I'll put on the screen now, which one, if you want to see what it's looking like at the moment. But I do have other works in progress. The biggest of those is my Hygge Shawl. Now this is a pattern by Nordic Stitches, Lilli of Nordic Stitches, and I'm making it with it's a medium grey Drops Flora and this bright orangey yellow, which I dyed using a kit I got for my birthday. And I am exactly halfway through. I got to the halfway point last night when we had a considerably cooler evening and it was a good time to get some knitting done. I'm one stitch out for some reason. I don't think it's going to matter, so I'm just going to do a bit of a check. But this is the longest point. After this we're going to start decreasing again, and this is how it's looking. So you can see it starts off, it's knit on the bias, it starts off down here and you increase up doing striped sections and this lovely textured section as you go, and you've also got these eyelet sections. So really pleased with how this is coming out. I'm really looking forward to blocking it and watching these textured sections come to life. Yeah, really excited about that. It's a really good pattern. I haven't had any problems with it whatsoever. I found it after I sort of got the hang of how it's written, and you know, with every pattern you need to just get the feel for it, don't you, and get into the rhythm of it. But very quickly I got into the rhythm of the texture sections and the different sections that there are. So yeah, really enjoying this one. In fact, this is the one I'm working on almost monogamously at the moment. Monogamously. It's a hard word to say when you suddenly throw that into your podcast. Okay, so that's my Hygge Shawl. Oh, and that is living in one of my own handmade bags, which is just my tropical birds bag, which seems appropriate given the weather here in the UK. I also have in progress some vanilla socks, which I cast on just before we went to Legoland and up to my dad's a couple of weeks ago, because I wanted something I could just knit in the car and out and about. So I'm making some vanilla socks. I'm actually getting ahead for Christmas. Check me out. These are going to be for my mother-in-law for Christmas, and I'm knitting these out of Drops Fabel Print, and I've stuck the label in my socks. So I keep doing this because I've got something in my eye. Sorry about that. It's gone. It's Drops Fabel Print in the colour, I think it's, I always get this wrong, Berry Dreams, I think it is. It's a purpley one. Here it is all balled up. So I've divided I balled up the two 50-gram balls, if that makes sense, and then I found the matching point and started. And these are toe-up socks, which I'm knitting concurrently on 9-inch short circular needles, and as you can see, I'm getting a pretty good match with the pattern. This is the larger one. I'm almost at the point, just a few rows away, and getting ready to start increasing for the gusset there. Really, really nice, fun pattern, and the other one is just a little bit behind. So I just knit a little bit on one and a little bit on the other, and that's pretty much my favourite way to knit socks. I really like having the little short circular needles because you don't need to worry about stopping mid-row or anything like that. So you just keep going and going, and once I've turned the heel on these, just keep going until I feel like they're long enough, and then do a few rows of ribbing, and that's it done. So yeah, really, really enjoying my vanilla socks. Excellent car knitting and mindless knitting, and they are living in my cat bag, my Knitting Expat cat bag, and I've just undone the ribbon. So I'll have to mend that. And my stepmom, when I was up there, actually had her eye on this bag. She really liked it, she liked the colours, so I might see if I can find a similar fabric to make her a bag like that. That'll be another Christmas thing. So organised. Aren't you impressed? What's the other thing I've got on the go? Oh, my speckled space socks. So you would have seen, of course you may not have seen, but I talked quite extensively about these in the first, in the early episodes of my June vlogs, because I was having horrible problems turning the heel. Now these aren't on the needles purely because I had to borrow the needles to do a swatch for something else. I just put them on waste yarn for the minute. But I should have brought down my sock blocker so I could show you it. I'll go and get it. Hold on. Right, sock blocker. Let's pop it on here, and then you'll be able to get a better idea of the pattern. Right, these are, I don't know if I've actually said yet, the Speckled Space Socks by Amanda Stevens, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, which is amazing really, because they're a really nice pattern, quite complicated. Got some bits to sort out there, but these are they're toe-up socks. Oh, I should have said as well, my previous socks, the vanilla ones, are toe-up socks, and they're the Sockmatician's toe-up recipe by Nathan Taylor. And these ones are Speckled Space Socks by Amanda Stevens, and they've got this, they're designed to showcase speckled yarn, but I really just wanted to get the pattern, which is this chevron. Don't know if that's focusing. This chevron pattern, which runs up the front of the sock. And I just wanted to have that as the main feature really, so I did it in a plain yarn, and this is for my eldest daughter, who's 11, and she chose this yarn. It's a Cascade Heritage yarn. And just for a bit of interest, I added a tiny bit of very brightly coloured My Mama Knits yarn. This is in the My Heart in Flames colourway. Just 2 rows at the end of the toe before the pattern starts. It took me a while to work out how to position that so that it wouldn't get distorted by the first cable row. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with those. The heel was a right pain in the bum though, but I've done it now. But having done the heel and got past it, I just needed a bit of a break from them. So I put those to one side just temporarily while I get over the trauma of doing the heel, and that's only the first sock, but I've made a lot of notes which should help me when I come to do the second sock. So that's another work in progress. I think that's all I'm going to show you. I do have, like I said, I've got my Crochet memories and my in time out travelling cable mix, and I'm also making a stuffed fox head for my sister, but there's just not enough progress made on those to be very interesting to show you. So moving on, let's talk about incoming things. I've had quite a few incoming things. Let me just move sock blockers. There you go, sorry about that. I'm back in focus, didn't even realise. Yeah, I've had quite a few incoming things. I've been very, very lucky in that some absolutely gorgeously wonderful people have sent me things in the post completely unexpectedly. I've also been very lucky in that I've managed to place a couple of yarn orders this past couple of months. So I've got some things I bought myself too. Not loads, because I don't have an endless yarn budget, but so I'll start with the things I've bought. I'm not going to show you everything. So first of all, I got my mini skein club for June from Little French Meadow. Now I've just signed up for my third go of this because I love it so much. Every month you get a little packet from Little French Meadow, and you get 2 mini skeins. And they follow a different theme every month. So if I keep having, it doesn't seem to be auto-focusing for some reason. So this was the June mini skein club, which was called I Do, and this is one's called Bridesmaid and one is called Something Blue. I wonder which one's which. And I think, are they both? Yeah, they're both sparkly and deliciously gorgeous. And that came with a, it came with a little stitch marker, which was a diamond ring stitch marker, which is actually on one of my vanilla socks. Really happy with those and really looking forward to getting another 3 months of them. Very exciting. I also placed an order with the Wool Warehouse. I got that Berry Dreams sock yarn. I also ordered a Drops Fabel Print in this colourway, which it only says the colourway 910 on the label, but it does actually have a name. Sorry, I'm going to have to do quite a bit of cutting and editing in this because the focus is really, really out. I don't know if I've maybe accidentally turned off autofocus. Anyway, this is a really nice sort of beach. It reminds me of like a beachy print, a beachy colour. Reminds me of beach huts and pebbles and sand and things like that. So that's going to be a really nice pair of vanilla socks at some point too. I also ordered 5 balls of this dark grey Drops Flora. Now I'm using the medium grey for my Hygge Shawl, and I wanted this because I'm going to make my first garment very soon. I want to make the So Faded jumper by Andrea Mowry. And I'm going to be combining this with another hand dyed yarn. I'm not going to talk about that today. I'll talk about that next time when I've got a few more of my works in progress off the needles. I also ordered this absolutely more Drops Flora because it was on, they had a sale on Drops yarn, so I got this for a really good price. I ordered this light grey and this gorgeous yellow. We all know how much I love yellow. As well, I ordered a couple of each of those, and I ordered this stuff. Have you ever heard of this? This is a Drops sort of thread. It's silver, and you hold it double with your yarn to put a kind of sparkle throughout your project if you're not using sparkle yarn. Amazing. can't wait to try that. So I might put that through my jumper when I knit my jumper. They do gold as well. Actually, that reminds me, I actually bought 2 of these because I wanted to put one of them in with the giveaway. So let's pop that in there. There you go, Sue. That's another thing on its way to you. Yes, I got 2 of those, and I also got the gold one, if I can find it, so unprepared. So yeah, got the silver and the gold. Really pleased with those. Yes, that's it for stuff I bought or ordered. Now, moving on to very, very kind people who have sent me things in the post unexpectedly, and that basically just totally made my day. Firstly, I received something from a lovely lady on Instagram called Jo Mama Bear, and I gave away a book that I'd finished with. I just did a random number generator of the comments from everyone who said they'd be interested, and I sent that to her, and in return she sent me some yarn and some tea, which was totally unexpected and totally not necessary if you're watching Jo. But I just wanted to show you what she gave me very quickly. I'm not going to go into this greatly because I did talk about it on the blogs and don't want to bore you if you've already seen that. So she sent me this lovely yarn. It was actually balled into 2, but I've put it back into 1 ball because I think I'm going to make a hat from it, that she bought at Yarndale. And she sent me a mini skein of Nora George yarn, and I've never had a skein of Nora George yarn ever. So that was really exciting, and it's in this gorgeous kind of golden colourway. Get it to focus. It's coming out very washed out on the screen. It's a very rich golden yellow, and it is lovely, and I love it. And she also sent me a lovely little note and some beautiful tea. Look how gorgeous these tea bags are. They're such pretty packages. So thank you very much for that, Jo. That was totally unexpected and a really lovely surprise. Thank you. And yes, if that wasn't enough, another one of my Instagram friends sent me a belated 40th birthday parcel. So that was another delightful surprise. She does watch this podcast as well. Hi Kaylee. She's Shadows at Midnight Knits on Instagram, and she's also in Kent, and she has a lovely Instagram feed, so do make sure you go and check her out because she's lovely. She used to have an Etsy shop selling jewellery and handmade bits and bobs, and she was obviously very good at it because she sent me some, and I shall show you now. So first, right, she sent me, I'm going to do this one at a time, seeing as I'm having focusing issues. Prepare for some serious editing. This gorgeous key and rose necklace, and it's a really long necklace which I love, and I'm going to wear this on Saturday to the party I'm going to. This gorgeous little heart bracelet. 3 sets of her gorgeous handmade earrings. Strawberries and 2 types of flowers. And again, I think I'm going to wear these to the party I'm going to. And these ones are my favourite. She also made me some brilliant beam polymer clay things. Wait till you see this. Now we all know how much I like lobsters. Look at this little lobster brooch. Little shell, little lobster lying on sand. How perfect is he? And this gorgeous tiny slice of lemon drizzle cake. So many focusing issues today. Oh, I'm going to have fun editing later, aren't I? It's going to take me forever. She also sent me something for a future giveaway, which I'm going to hold on to. And it is a little tiny chocolate donut. How cute is that? So I'm going to put that to one side for a future prize giveaway. Thank you very much, Kate. Oh, hang on a minute, I haven't finished with this. She also sent me some yarn, and it is really beautiful. It is a hand-dyed cotton viscose yarn, and it is this sort of really nice, oh, let me just show you because I can't describe it. Well, that's coming out quite well on the camera. It's this gorgeous kind of indigo-y blue colour. It's probably a terrible description of the colour. Turquoisey. And she knitted me this lovely hand knitted rose. How clever is that? So that was a lovely birthday surprise. Thank you, Kaylee. That was so generous of you. I definitely was thrilled to bits with that. And lastly, another random arrival in the post, another completely unexpected thing. And this is one of those moments where something arrived and I'm looking at the envelope thinking, I think there must be a mistake because I haven't ordered anything from this place. What's going on? And then I opened it and there was a note, and it was from Yola and Alison, who are the lovely, lovely ladies behind Little French Meadow, who I'm a big fan of. And it said, and they sent us a little note basically saying that knowing that how much I love lemon drizzle cake, which I might have mentioned a few times, that they were sending me their version of lemon drizzle. So this is lemon drizzle Little French Meadow style. It is so gorgeous. Once again, because of the light today, because actually the lighting is pretty good, but it does mean that things are coming out very bright. This is a sparkly colour, and literally when you look at it, I put a picture of it on my Instagram feed, and someone's, I think Lorraine Pugh said, I literally can taste lemon drizzle cake just looking at it, and that's exactly how I feel looking at it. It just screams, eat me. Lovely. You would kind of expect it to smell of lemon because it looks so lemony. Thank you very much, Yola and Alison. That was a wonderful surprise and really so generous of you. And this is going to go into a really special project that will be for me, because this to me is perfect. Thank you. I've just remembered that I have another finished object which I intended to show you earlier and completely forgot about. So I'm going to show you now, and this also relates to our giveaway prize, my giveaway prize. I did a little video earlier this week about dyeing yarn in the garden using the heat of the sun. So I did a whole video about the process that I used to do that, which was kind of just me making it up as I went along and seeing what happened. But it turned out quite successfully. So if you want to see the process and how I did it, please go and view the June vlog that I am now putting up on the screen to watch the process. But if you just want to see the finished result, this is it. So this is my solar dyed yarn, which I am going to be calling, it's not going to be a repeatable colourway, but I'm calling it my Scorchio yarn, because on the day that I dyed it, it was about, I think they got to a high of 32 degrees that day, same as today actually. And the heat that the sun generated in the jar was, the yarn was still, the water was still almost simmering from sitting out in the glass jar for 3 hours in the sun. And I got a really, all the dye was absorbed really quickly. Left it out there for about 3 hours, and this is what I got. Got this really vibrant orangey red at the bottom. Got pinks, oranges, a little bit of red, yellows, and it just screams hot weather and sunshine, which I don't like, but I can try to embrace it in these little ways. Jan Breeny, who is Jan Breeny on Instagram, called it, when she saw it drying on the line, she said in the comments on my Instagram, Scorchio. So I thought that is a very fitting name for this yarn. And at the same time, I dyed a mini. So what I did was I just prepared the mini in the same way you would normally, and I just plonked it in with the yarn. And I didn't really think about applying dye to it. I just wanted it to take whatever landed near it, really. So this is the mini. It's a sparkly one. I think it's 20 or 30 grams. There we are. And that came out brilliantly. I'm really pleased with this little mini. It's a nice little variegated one, and we're calling this the Scorchio Mini. And that is the hand-dyed yarn that I've done. There will be a little bit more yarn. Just focus myself. Hello camera. So that is going to go in your prize package, Sue, as well, and there'll be a little bit more yarn in there as well, so you're going to have that. And I'm a bit jealous because I kind of want to keep it, but that little bit of British sunshine is going to make its way to North Carolina. Now I wanted to introduce a new segment. A lot of the other podcasts that I watch and enjoy have a section where they kind of have free rein to talk about what they like. So it's kind of a bit like that. It's going to be called And Finally. The And Finally section, which used to be a section on the news here in Britain where they would, it was usually a silly story about a goat that had got stuck in a canal, or you know, chickens loose on the motorway or something like that. So this is going to be my And Finally section, which is going to be where I can just talk about anything I like, whether it's yarn or craft related or not. But let's face it, it's probably going to be yarn and craft related, because that's what this podcast is about, and that's what I generally talk about. In this first of the And Finally sections, I'm going to talk about my family fibre history. I had a long chat with my mum the other day, because I know that we have a history of knitting and wool related things in our family, and just picked her brains a bit and got a little bit about the history of yarn and crafts in our family. What she told me is my parents are both from Scotland. My mum is from Fife originally, and they then moved to Aberdeen. I believe that before that my granny, who was her mum, did come from Aberdeen. And my granny and her sister Janet, my great aunt Janet, both worked in the woolen mill in Aberdeen, and it was paid by piecework, producing wool in the mill by machine. And my mum remembers that my great aunt Janet was known for being very good at handling the yarn so that it wouldn't break. She was good at that. That was her thing. And they used to put the finished yarn onto these great big things called perns. At least that's what she remembers them being called. And they were basically the spools that the yarn went onto. And she remembers as a child playing with the empty ones at home. And the reason they had empty ones at home is, I think it's probably safe to say this after about 65 odd years have passed, that my great aunt Janet used to steal the yarn from the woolen mill to bring home so that they could make their school clothes for my mother and her sister. So she would steal the yarn, and my mum's granny, my great granny, would knit the school cardigans for my mum and her sister with the stolen yarn. It's a checkered history, it would seem, in our family. And my mum remembers her school cardigans smelling sheepy, which I think is really nice, because now I really like the smell of yarn when it smells sheepy, and she has a strong memory of that from her school cardigans that her granny used to make her with stolen yarn. She said as well that the environment in the woolen mill was quite an aggressive one. It wasn't an easy place to work. These were not genteel people working there, but my great aunt Janet and my granny knew how to hold their own, and they did very well. Bonuses were worked out by the foreman, so he did the books, and there were bonuses for doing well. But he was quite a formidable character, apparently. Even the manager of the mill was scared of him, and he wasn't doing it fairly. And my aunt Janet, my great aunt Janet, took that on, made the manager deal with it and sorted it out and made sure everyone got their fair bonuses. My great granny, who was my mum's granny, never had knitting needles out of her hands. My own granny didn't knit, but yeah, my great granny did. She never stopped knitting. She knit all of my great grandfather's socks. In fact, he wouldn't wear anything else. And my mum remembers that she actually knit them out of, I think it was 2 or 3 ply yarn. And when they were worn out, she would darn them. And he didn't wear any other socks, only the ones that she made him. And my granny and her 2 sisters would often come home with patterns for a top that they would want to wear. And my granny would knit that to order, usually in time for the dance that night. So she could knit a tank top or something along those lines in enough time for them to bring home the pattern in the morning and have it ready for them to wear to the dance that night. And what my mum remembers as well is that she had a belt, like a leather belt, which had holes positioned on it for the knitting needles to sit in. So as she knit, she could hold the knitting needles into position in this belt to stop them sliding around. Like I say, my own granny didn't knit, but my mum does, and she was taught, I don't know if it's the same all over the country, but in Scotland in those days, my mum will be 70 next year, so they were taught young at primary school, and she was first taught to knit at age 6, which is the age that my youngest is now. And she does actually show an interest in knitting, but she's got it, she's got the idea, but the brains are ahead of her dexterity, really. That's a helicopter. I think it's gone now. So yeah, in Scotland she was taught to knit at the age of 6, and the first thing they were taught to make was a kettle holder for taking the kettle off the fire, which was 2 knit squares which the teacher then crocheted together. That was the first thing. The second thing they made was a scarf, and then after that it was mittens with thumbs, and then around the age of 10 or 11, that's when they were taught to make gloves with fingers. So you're getting a bit more complicated then, which is amazing to think now, because I don't think my 11-year-old could even contemplate knitting a scarf, let alone gloves with fingers. So that's a little bit of the history of fibre in my family, which I thought was quite interesting. I only came to knitting about 1.5 years ago now, although I've been crocheting for quite a few years. And I came to that not because of seeing not because of seeing an older generation in my family doing that, but because my sister had taken it up as a hobby, and I liked the look of it, and I taught myself after that, just because I'd seen what she was doing and liked it. But it's funny to think that my sister and I have both come to these things, because my sister crochets as well, obviously. Well, not obviously, but because I already mentioned it, so obviously. So we both crochet and I knit, and it's funny to think that actually we are following a kind of family history in that, without actually being influenced by anyone we knew about in their lifetime. It's a kind of natural thing that has come to us, so you do sort of wonder if it's in the genes. I think that's about it. I'm going to sign off now. I have no idea how I'm going to edit this podcast with my laptop broken. It's probably going to be quite painful, and what with the focusing issues as well. I apologise for that. Please do make sure you join in tune in to my June vlogs that are going on. There's a lot of other content going on there at the moment. Congratulations to the winner of the Celebrate Everything giveaway, and thank you again to everybody that took the time to go to the Ravelry group and enter that. Like I say, it was lovely to get to know you through what you were celebrating. Next episode should be in 2 weeks' time, not quite so long, and until then, happy summer solstice and see you soon.